Next up, what's going on with Travis Kelce? He has had 39 receiving yards throughout the first 2 games to start the year. And that's very unlike him because Travis Kelce, if it was another tight end, if it was, say, George Kittle, you could say, oh, they're using him more, to block for the run game. And that is a valid point for someone like George Kittle, but what Travis Kelce brings to the table is he is a receiving tight end, first and foremost. That is what he brings to your team. That is where he has his most value as a player. So when you are not catching passes consistently, that's when a problem arises. And we saw his production decline a little bit last year. He didn't reach 1,000 yards for the first time in a while. And I believe he was injured at some point during that year. But we did see his production drop a little bit last year. But in the playoffs, he was able to recover. He did really, really well in the playoffs. And the Chiefs ended up winning the Super Bowl, of course. But this year for Travis Kelce, it's been a much rougher start, at 19.5 yards a game. That amount of receiving yards a game would have him on track for 331 receiving yards throughout the entire season on this current pace. And do I think that's going to be the case? Absolutely not. I think Kelce's way too talented. I think he's still too good of a receiving tight end to end up with something that low. But the fact that that's even a possibility and he's got off to such a slow start, I think it's pretty concerning. And for the Chiefs, you don't have the best wide receivers. Rashee Rice is really solid. Xavier Worthy looks good. But in general, your main receiver has been Travis Kelce ever since you lost Tyreek Hill. Especially before you got Rashee Rice, there was a gap year there between, Hill and Rice. You didn't have anyone but Travis Kelce, and now, thankfully, Rice is able to take on a little bit more of that responsibility. But your number 2 wide receiver is a rookie, and then the other guy, Hollywood Brown, he's injured right now. So I would love to see more from Travis Kelce because I think ultimately the Chiefs are going to need that versatility and that diversity in the passing game if they want to even have a chance to three-peat. So I think Kelce will improve throughout the year. I don't think that's much of a hot take either, but something needs to be done because he has been very off these first 2 games. And if the Chiefs are going to be serious this year, they need Travis Kelce. If you enjoyed this video, it would be great if you could find it in you to like, subscribe, maybe check out the full podcast on Spotify, follow us on there, follow us on Instagram. I know realistically this podcast isn't going to go anywhere ultimately, whether it's via the segments on YouTube or the entire podcast itself, but I want to get into the sports broadcasting business. I want to be able to promote thought-provoking discussions about the NBA, and I would love to do it via State of the Association. Thank you if you made it all the way through.